Good morning, children. Welcome to our social session. Children, in the previous class we tried to understand about the early phase of the national movement, under which we tried to understand about the moderate period, about the extremism period or extremist period. And we have seen the freedom fighters like Lal Bal Pal and even Dadabhai Naoroji, the early freedom fighters. We also tried to understand about the foundation or the establishment of a Indian National Party. Today we shall learn about the national movement in the last phase, that is from 1919 to 1947. So the national movement has taken completely a big turn after the arrival of Gandhiji into the movement. So it was in 1915 that Mahatma Gandhiji arrived in India from South Africa, and having led Indians in many in that country in non-violent methods, struggles against racial discrimination. South Africa, you know, there is a problem of racial discrimination. Color discrimination was there. Whites and blacks, color discrimination was present, and against to that agitation in South Africa, Mahatma Gandhi led successfully the non-violent struggle. He was already a respected leader there and known internationally even. His South African campaigns had brought him in contact with the various types of people in India. Various types of Hindus and various types of Indians he met, like Muslims, Parsis, Christians, Gujaratis, Tamilians, North Indians, and merchants, lawyers and workers. Different cross section people he tried to meet due to the South African agitation. And Mahatma Gandhi spent his first year, that is in 1915, he spent in India traveling throughout the country, understanding the people, their needs, and the overall situation, how the situation is in the country. In order to understand that one, he kept on moving all over the country in his first year. And his earliest interventions were in the local movements in the Champaran and Kheda. First he participated in the agitation, the first agitation at Champaran he participated. Okay, that was a local problem, Champaran and Kheda. In these two places his first intervention was present, and those were the local agitations. So his big, and these agitations were against to the unfair collection of excessive taxes on them. And his first major movement was in Ahmedabad, the textile mill workers, where they called for a strike in 1918. In these two movements, he also came into contact with many leaders who were to be his lifelong associates. He found good friends also in these two movements, and one of them were Vallabhbhai Patel. And even Rajendra Prasad also met him during the same moment. So Vallabhbhai Patel travelled with him for a longer time. So let us now focus on the movement organized between 1919 to 1922. That was the period when the Rowlatt Act was brought, as well as Jallianwala Bagh massacre was also held. So in 1919 it was the Jallianwala Bagh massacre against to the Rowlatt Act. So Mahatma Gandhi did not associate himself with a specific faction of Congress. He did not even join the Congress. He built his own political program and even space in nationalist politics. He did not join any political party. He started his own political agenda, his own political program. He launched a Champaran program in 1917 and Kaira protest movement in 1918, and participated in Ahmedabad, the textile workers program without the support from the Congress. So he participated individually in these all programs, and he became a most popular leader among the mass, and he became a central figure of political activism in the country. It was in 1919 that Gandhiji gave a call for satyagraha on the Rowlatt Act, against to the Rowlatt Act which has been passed by the British government. So Rowlatt Act that the British had just passed was very slavish act, very heinous act passed by the British government. Against to that he gave a call of satyagraha. Satyagraha means what they do in satyagraha. They sit without speaking any untoward words towards the government, okay, and they try to protest, they try to show their protest against the government. So it was a non-violent method of showing your protest against the government act. So he gave a call for that. The act has curbed fundamental rights and such as freedom of expression and strengthened the police powers. It was very heinous act, and any person who was suspected by the police can arrest him without any reason, and they may be called as a terrorist and could be arrested and kept in prison without any trial, and he can be even arrested and put in the jail without any. Generally trial has to be taken place. Trial means taking him into the court, producing the evidences, and based on that the judge will decide whether the act has been committed, whether the act of illegal or crime is committed or not will be decided by the judge. So without any such a trial you can be put in the jail, and even any evidence is produced, you cannot see that evidence. Mahatma Gandhi, Muhammad Ali Jinnah and many other people had felt that the government had no right to restrict the people's power or people's basic freedom. They criticized the act as a devilish act, and also Gandhiji asked the government, asked the Indian people to observe 6th April 1919 as the day of non-violent opposition to the act and as a day of humiliation and prayer. Gandhiji called to observe that 6th April 1919 as a day of humiliation and prayer, and it was a hartal. Hartal is nothing but strike, that they will not take up the work. It was a hartal, and satyagraha sabhas were set up all over the country, and they launched a movement. So the Rowlatt Satyagraha turned out to be the first all India struggle against the Britishers with the call of Gandhiji, and against to this in April 1919 there were a number of demonstrations and hartals in the country, and the government used brutal measures to suppress the hartal and to suppress the revolt. The worst example of these atrocities was firing on the meeting of a unarmed people in Jallianwala Bagh Park in Amritsar in Punjab. It was in the year 1919 on 13th April, in which about 400 people were killed and thousands of people injured, and these 400 people were women, men, children. They were all unarmed, gathered for a Satyagraha Sabha. And Rabindranath, on learning about the massacre, Rabindranath Tagore has expressed the pain and anger of the country by renouncing the title given to him as a knighthood by the British government. That was a title which was given to Rabindranath Tagore by the British government in order to honor him. But by killing his own people, the people of Indians, how can you honor me? So he gave up that title of a knighthood. So during the Rowlatt Satyagraha, the participants tried to ensure that Hindus and Muslims were united in the fight against the Britishers. We should not get divided, because the plan of the Britishers was to divide the people in the name of religion so that they can be suppressed very easily. But here Hindus and Muslims, they got united, and this was also the call of Mahatma Gandhi, who always saw India as a land of all the people who lived in the country, Hindus, Muslims, Christians and those of other religions. Okay, all the people whoever live here, it is the land of all the people. He was keen that the Hindus and Muslims support each other in this cause, because the British government divide and rule policy can be overthrown only with the plan of Mahatma Gandhi. And Indian nationalists also, nationalists means the leaders, also strove very hard. They strived very hard in order to build the unity among the Hindus and Muslims and to reform the Indian society, even bringing democratic form of government and self-rule in India. These all were the visions. So these all also had come up with the Khilafat agitation, which we shall try to understand in the next class. Khilafat agitation is relating to the Muslims, where we shall understand about the unity between the Hindus and Muslims, where Mahatma Gandhi gave a call, okay, to unitedly work for a just cause. Okay, then thank you children. See you in the next class.